No.
Good evening, everyone. This is the regular meeting of the Altamont Zoning Board on January 27th, 2026. Time is now 7 p.m. Before we begin, I'd point out that there are exits to the rear and in front of us, should there be an emergency. The meeting is being recorded, and if everyone is able to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance before we begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if we could have the board introduce themselves, starting on my left.
Lori Penzi.
Charles Trout.
Simon Litton.
James Sullivan.
Robert Freeman.
Elizabeth Laparco.
All right. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight. We will look first at second item on our list, review the application for lot line amendment waiver by VAMR Development. Is the applicant here? You want to come up and speak on your?
Good evening, Luigi Palesci with ABD Engineers and Surveyors, representing the applicant, VMR, Ken Romansky. This project goes back a few years with a 4-lot subdivision. Romansky has built 2 homes so far. The lot we're here in front of you is for the 3rd lot, which is known as 145C. He actually has a contract for a buyer on that lot. And it was a request by that buyer if they could extend the backyard, because if you look at the original subdivision map, there's a small finger of wetlands that runs kind of through the backyard. And what this would allow them to do is get on the other side of that and have more usable backyard. So that is one request that the home buyer is asking for before he closes on the home. And we submitted a lot line amendment application. We submitted the lot line amendment map. And if you look at the map, what it simply does is it extends the back of the existing lot line 75 more feet. The width stays the same. Everything else stays the same as was originally approved on the subdivision, other than just adding that 7,500 square feet to the rear yard so that this homeowner can have a bigger backyard.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if there's any questions, I can certainly answer them.
Anyone from the board have questions?
Yes, I do. What is the restriction on the wetland area?
Yeah.
What can they not do?
Yeah, you can't just go in and disturb it. You can't install any structures on it. We've put notation on the plans. There's actually signage that goes around that area, and it's deed restricted in their deed, stating that they can't go in there and just disturb it. What they can do is they can build a footbridge over it. You see that a lot of times. It's a small, narrow strip where, water can convey, but you put a footbridge so that you can get on the other side of this land where you're in the upland and you have, the extra land now, if this gets approved, to do other things, to put a shed back there, to install a pool or whatever. But, it allows them to get to the back.
So they can access it like with a tractor or something?
Yeah,
to mow it,
as long as they build some sort of.
Without walking on the wetland?
Right, they can't obstruct the flow of the water. So it's a natural drainage course that cuts through there. As long as they don't obstruct that and they build something over so that they can get to the other side. They can't fill it in, can't build a structure within that area.
Do you have a map of the extent of this wetland? Because it isn't on the DEC database.
That's correct. So that it is showing on here. If you look at the larger parcel just north of this lot 145C. It's the hashed-in areas that you see throughout the rear of the property. Those were delineated by wetland biologists.
Is there a way for us to like get that as what is it, a DWG file or something, so that can be part of the record that we have going forward in the future?
Well, it'll be on the filed subdivision map. It'll get filed with the county clerk's office, so that wetland mapping will always be part of what's been filed. And wetlands are only good for 5 years anyways. They would have to be redelineated
I see.
if there were to do any future development in the future. So,
All right, I understand.
yeah,
Thank you.
but they will be documented and filed with the county clerk's office, as you see on this map.
But in association with this particular plot.
That's correct, yeah.
So if somebody were just looking for wetlands in Altamont, they wouldn't necessarily find that.
No, but, if they came to the town would have record that this subdivision was filed. They can either get a copy from the town, or they go to the county clerk's office and obtain a copy as well.
All right, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
In the review of the application, a couple questions came up, so I'd ask our counsel just to go over a couple things.
Absolutely. Again, my name is James Lavelle. I operate as counsel for the ZBA in the Village of Altamont. Addressing the application, and this is for the information of the board and the public here as well. After having a chance to review the application, the initial maps that were filed from the previous subdivision and the lot line adjustment which was proposed, we've come to the conclusion that what's actually been proposed is not in fact a simple lot line adjustment, but it is actually a plat amendment from the final subdivision in 2021. From the original, or excuse me, 2022. From the 2022 subdivision, there were originally deed restrictions placed on the map stating that what was existing as Lot 4 would not be able to be built on without further authorization and consultation with the town and proof of a wetland delineation, showing that the ground itself that existed was not wet. And additionally, from the original 2022 mapping to the one that was provided by the applicant, just based on a observation of the wetland delineation and the maps provided, it seems fairly obvious that the shape of the wetland has changed. I know the town knows and council's noted that the applicant has made some references to a wetland delineation which was undergone in November of 2025. However, to date, we have received no copy of that and have not seen it, and quite frankly, have no proof of what is going on there. I do see, and council does see in the reflection of the proposed map where you do have a deed restricted sign, but because of the because of the restrictions which were placed on the original 2022 subdivision, this would instead file then as amendments to a final plat and not a lot line adjustment, and would need to be brought to the board as an amendment to a plat and not a lot line adjustment.
So, yeah, the wetlands were updated in 2025 by Van Gilder and Associates, right? Because, wetlands are only good for 5 years.
Of course.
So we did the updated wetland delineation, and when we got the first plat approved, it was done by, a delineation at that time, which was wider, right? It was a bigger wetland, okay? Those wetlands were deed restricted as noted on the plat. So when we got the updated delineation, you could see they did shrink a little bit, and the deed restriction is still in place. So the deed restriction from the original plat wasn't defined by meets and bounds, it was defined by the limits of the wetlands. So if the wetlands are changing, or every 5 years you get a new delineation, the deed restriction follows the wetland line.
So the
So that's what we provided, was the update.
So the initial deed restriction from 2022, however, stated that Lot 4 could not be built upon, period, unless further updates of wetland delineations were provided. Now, however, the area that the applicant is proposing to add on to the back of Lot 3 comes directly from Lot 4. What we're trying to do is ensure that, one, the restrictions which were originally placed by the village on the parcels in 2022 are still followed. And then two, in the village code, it's section 31520. It states that if any time after a plat has been signed by the chairperson of the zoning board of appeals or filed with the Albany County clerk and the subdivider wants to amend the plat in any way, which is what's occurring here, that the subdivider shall make application to the zoning board of appeals for a final plat amendment. The zoning board of appeals shall determine whether such amendment warrants a public hearing at that time. Again, we've had time to review this. Council's gone over it. It is our opinion and the opinion of council that this is not in fact a lot line adjustment because of the land that is changing and being added onto the property in addition to the original plat or plat restrictions which were placed on there. And it is again our opinion that the applicant is, of course, more than welcome to come back with the proper application for a plat amendment, and we will go through the process and review it. But the town would need to see this application form, an EAF, and a copy of that wetland delineation.
So even though we're not proposing anything on Lot 4, like Lot 4 doesn't change, right? All we're doing is we're adding 7,500 square feet. So we're adding it to Lot 145C, but removing 7,500 square feet
But
from Lot
that
145D.
7,500 feet comes from Lot 4. of the-
Right, which is a lot line adjustment, right?
That's what I'm saying. So the final plat's already been signed, executed in 2022. The conditions were placed on as part of the final condition of the approval. And again, it's our opinion that what's going on isn't actually adjusting the lot line because of the wetlands, because of the adjustment of the land from 4 to 3 and the original deed restrictions. It moves it from being a simple lot line adjustment to actually an amendment of the final plat of the original subdivision.
Right, but the deed restriction was just on Lot 145C in that wetland area. Lot 4 was the remaining parcel.
So Lot 4 in those decisions and in the ZBA's decisions at the time, part of the statement was that 4 would not be able to be modified, built on, so on, without further proof of.
But we're not proposing to build on Lot 4.
So we understand that, but because also understanding that you're proposing sale of the land and understanding that's part of it, that in conjunction with the wetland delineation, which we have not seen, the different wetlands which are occurring here, or excuse me, not occurring, but the different wetlands which are mapped out here, doesn't fall under what the town's code states as a lot line adjustment versus a plat amendment, or excuse me, a final plat amendment. And, sorry, one moment. And because of this, that's why it falls outside of the legal definition of it.
So what would be the next steps? I mean, to me, I think it's a lot line amendment, but in your opinion, so what would the next steps be?
So the next steps would just be for the applicant to file the correct form. I believe it's a application for subdivision. It falls under the same form from the town, and then the applicant just can make note of it on the top that it is for final plat amendment, to generate an EAF and provide the town with a copy of the wetland delineation from November of 2025.
Okay.
We could do all of that, and the applicant could come back next month, present it to the board, and we could go from there.
So that would be with this board though, right?
That would be with
Okay.
this board, correct?
Okay.
Does it make any difference whether the land being transferred is not a wetland or is a wetland? In other words, part of the part, or the 145D is a wetland, right? So they can't build on it, right?
Yeah, so 145D
Yeah,
has substantial area marked off as wetlands, that's
Right.
correct.
but does it make any difference whether the amount, whether the piece of land they're going to transfer to Lot 3 is wetland or the whole process needs to be changed, is what you're saying, I guess?
I'm sorry, was it the last part?
Well,
So, let me just.
so, yeah, so what we're talking about is a lot line adjustment, transferring a piece of land from Part 4 to Part 3, right?
Yes, correct.
And does it make any difference whether that part itself is wetland or dry land? If it was dry land, I mean, it kind of makes sense that it would be okay. If it's wetland,
So in this instance, we're not specifically worried about,
you're worried about the process.
worried about the process
Okay,
here,
all right,
the
all right.
formality of the process, but also ensuring that the restrictions that the town and the ZBA at the time placed on the land
Yeah, okay,
when the
all right.
previous subdivision was approved, ensuring those are carried over from deed to deed, and the process that was designed to be protected with that wetland property is protected.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree, but we'll follow suit with what you're saying, you know? We're not changing the wetlands, right? Like, it shouldn't matter even if there was wetlands. If a homeowner wanted to buy wetlands, why can't they change the line and acquire more wetlands in their backyard? Right? What you're saying doesn't make sense to me, but, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and bore everybody, so. We'll submit the applications and the EAF, that's easy to do, but we're gonna lose a month. It may risk the sale of this lot, that's all. You know, this board can, you know, decide otherwise, you know, then, you know, vote anyways, you know, vote for the lot line adjustment. That would be great, but
I think it's a prudent decision to follow the advice of counsel, regardless of how logical the motive is. You know, being able to just change a previous agreement without going through the proper steps could have consequences down the line.
right, but we're not changing anything environmentally. I guess that's where I'm getting at. Like, there's no changes other than moving a line so that Lot 145C is increased in size and Lot 145D decreases, right? Doesn't change the fact of the CO on 145C. You know, logically, we're moving the line from here to there. It's a simple lot line amendment.
If we follow the course of doing a, what is it, a plat amendment?
Plat
Is that
amendment,
what
yes.
you're asking for?
Yes.
How would that look different from what's been submitted?
So what a plat amendment would look like, it would largely be the same in terms of the actual application itself. However, the town and the town engineer would also then have a chance to review the wetland delineation, which is submitted. If the board if the board in its discretion thought that a public hearing was necessary, it would have the authority to set a public hearing, as opposed to this being a process where we feel, or council feels, incomplete information has been submitted to the board at this time. You would have the opportunity then to review everything in its totality, take input and opinion from, again, town engineer, and then the board could come back, and the board could very well approve this project and process. And please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But again, this is based on the restrictions that were enacted in 2022 and the town's own code. Because the subdivision was approved, and the town's code is very clear, and I have a section of law here if anybody would like to review it, that these final plat amendments have to go through this process.
So the real difference between what we have in front of us and what you're suggesting would be the review by the town engineer and then a public hearing.
And the board would also have a chance to review the wetland delineation, other information that was presented as well, take in public commentary, and go from there.
Could we proceed by scheduling a public hearing for this matter, so it would be in the next month, so that the applicant wouldn't have to come back next month with the paperwork, and then we decide for the following month for another meeting, if they could get the paperwork in time for the printing, for the public notices and all that?
The board could go ahead and schedule a tentative public, or like a conditional public hearing of sorts. Conditional upon the applicant providing information that the board deems complete. the board could then, at the beginning of the next meeting, before the public hearing is opened, could have a chance, go back and forth with the applicant, discuss any questions that arose. If the board then, and again, assuming that town's engineers had a chance to review and provide their opinion, if the board felt comfortable at that time moving forward, the board could, in its prerogative, do so.
If the town engineer doesn't get around to it, what would be the consequence of that?
If the town engineer did not provide their opinion by next month,
Yeah,
there's several ways to go about that. I think based on what we're discussing though, and also understanding the time-sensitive nature of what the applicant is proposing, I believe we could impress upon the town engineer that this is something that needs to be done within the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there's much for them to review here.
yeah.
But I do appreciate, you thinking of that and trying to speed this as quick as possible because, it is under contract. They were supposed to close tomorrow and that's not happening. So, anything we can do, we certainly appreciate it.
So then, I think, based on what was filed, we need to have a motion on the first resolution in front of us to deny the application for tonight. And then I would propose a second one for scheduling, okay,
Public hearing.
yeah. All right, so could I please have a motion?
Before you do this, there's one comment I want to
Sure.
make. I believe that your tax map number is dropped a place. You have 37.09-1-5.1. I think it's supposed to be .14. I tried finding that on the maps, and I think the actual tax map number is 37.09-1-5.14. So
I'll double check that.
Please check that. Yeah,
Sure.
thanks. Just to make it accurate.
Okay. So do you understand the process that we're going to go through?
Yeah,
Going
so
forward?
because we submitted
Yeah.
a waiver of lot line amendment, you're
Okay.
going to deny that so that we have to submit.
The proper paperwork?
So what is the proper paperwork again? I get the EAF.
So it'll be, the application will be on the application for subdivision.
So it's submitting a subdivision application like we did previously.
And in that, what you can note in it is that it's for final plat amendment instead of lot line waiver. And then the only other thing that we would look for and ask for would be a copy of the November 2025
Yeah,
wetland
yeah,
delineation.
okay. Okay,
So relatively straightforward process.
okay.
Okay. So could I please have a motion to approve this resolution denying the request to waive the subdivision process for the proposed lot line adjustment?
I motion it.
Second?
Second.
I'll read through the, so this was the first resolution that was prepared denying the request to waive subdivision process for proposed lot line adjustment, and I'll go ahead and read through it. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals for the Village of Altamont, the board received an application from VAMR Development LLC, the applicant, for a lot line adjustment between two properties located at 145C Bozenkill Road, tax map number 37.09-1-5.1, and 145D Bozenkill Road, tax map number 37.09-1-5.11, both located within the Village of Altamont, New York. And whereas pursuant to Village Law, Chapter 315-10E, the board shall have the power to waive the subdivision process for lot line adjustments under certain circumstances. And whereas the applicant has requested the subdivision process be waived to allow for a lot line adjustment on lands that were the subject of a prior subdivision approved by the ZBA, said approved plat was filed in the Albany County Clerk's Office on May 20th, 2022 as instrument number 14210, and whereas the proposed lot line adjustment map includes other proposed changes to the filed plat, including but not limited to changes to a delineated wetland deed restricted area on Lot 3, and changes to or omissions of notes on the filed plat. And whereas the ZBA reviewed the application materials, the previously approved filed subdivision map, and applicable standard of review, now therefore be it resolved as follows by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Altamont, Albany County, New York. The board hereby denies the request for waiver of subdivision as the proposed changes require an amendment to the final plat filed in the Albany County Clerk's Office on May 20, 2022 as instrument number 14210 and cannot be processed as a simple lot line adjustment. It is further resolved that the Village of Altamont ZBA hereby authorizes and requires the board chair, secretary, clerk, and/or village attorney to take the appropriate steps to effectuate this resolution, including any filing and distribution requirements. Okay, so then the second part would be, I would propose a motion to schedule a public hearing for our next meeting on this matter pursuant on the board, the village, and council receiving the information in a timely manner to allow for review. Could someone make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll do those two motions separately?
Yes.
So the first motion is on denying the resolution?
Yep.
And Elizabeth made the motion, and that was seconded by Lori?
Yep.
Okay, so, Board Member Freeman?
In favor.
Board Member Litton?
In favor.
Board Member LaPalco?
In favor.
Board Member Kinsey?
In favor.
Board Member Strauss?
Approve.
And Chairperson Sullivan?
In favor.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then the second motion, which is setting public hearing, so the next date would be February 24th, and materials need to be in the office 2 weeks prior to that, so Tuesday by 4 o'clock.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay. And so Simon made that motion, and that was seconded by Charles.
Yep.
Okay. So, Board Member Freeman?
In favor.
Board Member Litton?
In favor.
Board Member LaParco?
In favor.
Board Member Kinsey?
In favor.
Board Member Strauss?
In favor.
And Chairperson Sullivan?
In favor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't like. I can give him copies, but there was no. Anything else? No. Absolutely.
Okay. The next item is a review of application for special use permit requested by AT&T Mobility to upgrade the equipment at the telecommunications facility within AT&T's leased area located at 18 Agawam Lane, Altamont, New York. Tax map number 37.18-1-45./1, consider a motion to set a public hearing. So, we have the applicant or representative.
Representative, yep. Martha Grady with Centerline Communications, here on behalf of AT&T. AT&T is an existing carrier on the tower. They're looking to remove 3 antennas and to install 6 antennas, so 3 new antennas that will be mounted behind the antennas we're taking off, essentially. The tower's not going to be extended in height. Mounts are going to remain the same from the original special use permit. So essentially, we're looking to just upgrade the site plan that was originally approved.
Does anyone from the board have any questions?
Yeah, if the power company wants to put a new transformer on a pole, they don't come to us, right? They just do it. Why do they have to come to us to put another antenna on their pole? I don't understand that.
I was kind of like, yeah.
I submitted a building permit application, and I'm not 100% sure. I think the original site plan or special use permit is through ECS. So I'm not, think you're told to come and revise that special use permit.
Yeah, I don't know
So I'm not sure if we're
what,
revising it or if we're requesting a brand new.
it should, I don't know if it's a difference in definition of revising or a new one, but it's a minimal change. I understand that the mounting is staying the same.
It
And
is,
it's
yes.
just the component that's on the mounting.
Correct,
And it's not increasing in size,
right.
so it's
It's
a
just
minimal
updated
change.
equipment.
Updated equipment. right.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I don't
know-
know what the difference is between telecom and power authority, but here we are.
Well, I think originally, I believe originally AT&T was thinking about putting a larger mount on the tower, which we worked out with ECS, and that's not happening. We're keeping the same mount. So I believe if we were going to try to push for a bigger mount, that probably would have needed a revision, but we're not changing the mount. We're just taking off antennas and putting antennas in its place.
Does this,
Yes, sir.
do 3 more antennas use more power for people that are concerned about cell towers? Are they going to,
No additional, no, it won't use any more power. If anything, these antennas are becoming more efficient
sophisticated?
and
Yeah,
sophisticated,
yeah,
correct?
All right, so unless anyone has any other questions, I see no reason to delay this. We can go ahead and schedule the public hearing,
Okay.
and then
Now, do you need any additional materials from me, or do you have?
I think we have everything.
Okay, I think you have the structural
Yeah.
cities, okay.
Yeah.
I think just
Everything
the
seems to be in
element.
order.
Okay,
So, let me read the right one. Oh, I don't have a resolution for that. It's just a motion to set a public hearing. Again, it would be the 24th of February. There is a resolution.
James, it's in that same package.
Is it?
He recommended it. Look past the drawing.
Oh, just didn't turn enough pages.
I saw that, and it doesn't make sense.
Okay. So I'll read the resolution and then ask for a motion. Resolution scheduling a public hearing on application for special use permit. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals for the Village of Altamont, the board received an application from AT&T Mobility, the applicant, for a special use permit to upgrade equipment on the existing telecommunications facility within the applicant's leased area located at 18 Agawam Lane, Altamont, New York, tax map number 37.18-1-45.1. And whereas the ZBA reviewed the application materials and additional information relevant to the application and applicable standard of review. Now therefore be it resolved as follows by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Altamont, Albany County, New York. The ZBA determines that the application is complete for its purpose of its review. And number 2, the ZBA hereby determines that the proposed action is an unlisted action for review under SECRA. And number 3, a public hearing on the application shall be held on February 24th, 2026 at the Village Hall. It is further resolved that the Village of Altamont ZBA hereby authorizes and requires the board chair, secretary, clerk, and/or village attorney to take appropriate steps to effectuate this resolution, including any filing and distribution requirements. Whereupon this resolution was declared adopted by the Village of Altamont Zoning Board of Appeals. Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? You have a question?
Yeah, well, one stupid comment here. In your short form environmental assessment thing, you've got an error here.
okay,
Where you say, under line 15, you say there's no, does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? You check no, the answer is yes, because of the brown-nosed bat.
brown-nosed bat, okay. I can update that.
Thank you. Doesn't change going forward.
Doesn't change anything, but it's an error in what you submitted.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. I'll change that.
So we had a motion.
I will motion that.
Second.
So, roll call. Board Member Freeman?
In favor.
Board Member Litton,
In favor.
Board Member Reposo,
In favor.
In favor.
In favor?
And Chairperson.
In favor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Apparently the bat didn't know either.
All right. The third item on our agenda, review of application for an area variance for height requested by Jacob Schenk to construct a 40 by 60 pole barn, storage building at 104 Main Street, Altamont, New York, tax map 37.19-1-26. Is the applicant here? Thank you.
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah, so I'm looking to put a 40 by 60 storage building in the back of my house. As this one gentleman here knows, my father lives with us upstairs. We've got a bunch of cars, goodies, boats, this, that, and the other thing, looking to find a good place to store, for cold storage. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the application?
How much difference is the regulated height versus the height here?
I didn't get a full understanding of the legitimate height regulation for the village, but the actual finished height, I just spoke to the builder, it's about, I think 29 feet is gonna be to the peak of the actual building. There's gonna be 16-foot ceilings with future intentions of maybe getting a motorhome or something that I can store inside. I need at least a 14-foot door to be able to fit it in. So that requires a 16-foot ceiling and then the trusses.
As far back as you're gonna have that, I don't even think they would see it from the road, to be honest with you, even with a
No,
30-foot.
no, it's over 100 feet away from the actual house
Yeah.
towards the back. The only person that's actually really gonna see it
Howard.
is Howard Gage,
Yep.
which is another father of mine, but, and then Maurice McCormick, which is, the neighbor directly to mine, but he has a massive,
His
big
barn
red
is
pole barn,
definitely-
which is probably gonna be even taller and whichever the finished height, so.
What road is this accessed by?
What's that?
Does it access from Main Street or
What's that? My house, there's no actual physical road access to that, no.
to the building?
Right, no.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not like it's gonna be an everyday use type thing. It's gonna be storing, random things, that's all.
Doesn't the code say in residential areas, no accessory structure above, I thought it was 15 feet?
15 feet, yeah.
So you're proposing quite a bit above.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason is because of future intentions of purchasing a motorhome. I have no really option with that.
Yeah, I think if we decide to accept the application and schedule a public hearing, that'll be one thing that will come up, how
Yeah.
it'll fit with the existing character of the
Yeah.
neighborhood. The fact that there is an older barn
Yeah.
right next door that is gonna be over our 15-foot height, it would give a comparison.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know if you've seen my house. Everybody's seen my house. I spend a lot of time. I own a landscaping company, so I take pride in what I have. We spend a lot of time renovating the house. It is a family-owned home, so I'm not gonna just put up something there that's a complete eyesore, so.
I'm seeing on the architectural drawings that the plan is to have metal siding. And I couldn't find it when I was looking, but I thought that there was a part of our code that didn't allow for metal siding in residential, or in the village at all, right?
In the village.
Yeah.
I'd have to find exactly the spot in the code, but there is a restriction on that.
Yeah, so that would be a separate variance
Okay.
that you would have to seek.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought Chris would have mentioned that to me.
Is that because, the metal siding, is that because it's kind of like a kit type of thing?
It's a
or-
pole barn, that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much what all, like the village, like the fairgrounds has, there's thousands of them over there, The neighbor next door, he's in Gildan actually, but Howard Gage has one right there. They're all within a short distance.
Yeah, I think that would be the only stumbling block.
Okay.
Um,
Do I have to apply for something different for that, or is it
It
required
would
that I would
be-
have to put something on
It
there?
would be an
or-
additional variance because it's a separate part of the code.
Okay. So just file a whole separate variance for metal siding?
Yeah, and we can do the same thing. If the board decides to accept the application, we can go ahead and schedule the public hearing, provided that you can send that paperwork in
Okay,
to be reviewed at that meeting.
okay,
Okay?
sounds good.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, so, we have let's see. Resolution scheduling a public hearing on the application of area variance. The final, the final resolution will change because we're gonna wanna add the siding, all right? But whereas the zoning board of appeals for the application of zoning board of appeals for the village of Altamont, the board received an application from Jacob Shank, the applicant, for an area variance for height to construct a 40 by 60 pole barn storage building at 104 Main Street, Altamont, New York, tax map number 37.19-1-26, and whereas pursuant to village law 355-52D3A, the board shall have the power to grant an area variance such as the one requested herein. And whereas the ZBA reviewed the application materials, additional information relevant to the application, and the applicable standard of review, now therefore be it resolved as follows by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Village of Altamont, Albany County, New York. The ZBA determines that the application will be complete for the purposes of its review. And two, the ZBA hereby determines that the proposed use qualifies as a type 2 action exempt from review under SECRA pursuant to 6 New York CRR 617.5C17. And three, a public hearing on the application shall be held on February 24th, 2026 at the Village Hall. It is further resolved that the Village of Altamont ZBA hereby authorizes and requires the board chair, secretary, clerk, and/or village attorney to take the appropriate steps to effectuate this resolution, including any filing and distribution requirements. So before I ask for a motion on this, I just want to make sure everyone understands that there'll be an additional component where the siding, if you decide to keep it as metal siding, that would be an additional variance. So could I have a motion on the amended resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you.
So the motion, just so you know, I'll take a photo, materials that we do like 2 weeks before.
Okay, all right.
All right.
I'd like to talk to you afterwards.
Sure.
Please don't go away.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Ready for roll call? All right. Board Member Freeman,
Approved.
Board Member Litton,
Approved.
Board Member Lopez,
Approved.
Board Member Clinton,
Approved.
Board Member Sharp,
Approved?
Approved.
All right, good.
Thank you. All right. Does anyone else on the board have other business they'd like to bring up? Seeing none, we can move to review and approval of minutes.
Oh, wait a minute. You were gonna, at the last meeting, I proposed that we look at some of the GIS stuff. And you said you were gonna talk to the attorney about that, for training?
I thought we talked about that at the meeting, and the training was already set up for the next year.
Oh, it had been?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
All
guess
right.
I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
So just so you know, for training purposes, I know you guys all just completed training, but the village is wanting to have training done in the first quarter of the year, so by the end of March. So we'll send out an email on Thursday when they're back in the office again, and just ask for 2 dates. You know, if you can just let me know what 2 days, and I'll throw out some dates and that kind of stuff, because they can't, with us having these meetings on the 4th Tuesday, they can't be on the 4th Tuesday, but I don't know, is Tuesday the best day for all of you, or Mondays, or that kind of stuff?
Not necessarily.
Sorry?
Doesn't have to be Tuesday. No.
Tuesday's tough for me.
Okay.
Tuesday's good?
It's tough for me.
It's tough?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just put out a calendar, and then you guys can just check off, you know, what's good with that with. And then we get 2 days, 2 hours each, Zoom kind of training.
Okay.
All right? Okay, thank you.
All right. And then review and approval of minutes from the meeting in November 18th, 2025. We received those in the email. Did anyone have any questions or revisions? Seeing none, motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, this is Simon and Howard.
Yep.
Okay, roll call. Board Member Finnan?
Approved.
Board Member Litton?
Approved.
Board Member Vicenta?
Approved.
Board Member Kuzi?
Approved.
Board Member Trent?
Approved.
Approved. All right. That's the end of our agenda, so could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Simon and Charles? Okay, roll call. Board Member Freeman?
Okay.
Board Member Litton?
Approved.
Board Member Sarko?
In favor.
Board Member Pinckney?
In favor.
Approved.
In favor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're all dug out of the snow.
Yes. They said maybe another one this weekend.
I know, yeah, though I saw the weather report, it looked like it might go out to sea, hopefully.
Tower up there, I'm like,
Yeah, did I say that? Sorry.